of pharmaceutical and drug companies that existed back in those days.
Okay, and what would be another Santa Claus story, what would you say?
Boy, there's plenty of them.
Bush.
The fact that the United States government is the greatest government on earth is a big lie.
Oh, yeah.
Well, in my book, they're the worst government on earth because of the fact, to get where they're at today, they had to misuse and abuse so much power and abrogate their own Constitution so many times that the Constitution really has no meaning or value other than in the field of pretending to have value. The U.S. government has interfered in so many countries in the name of democracy and freedom and made other people slaves is pathetic. Take, for example, Diego Garcia. The U.S. presence in Diego Garcia came at the expense of the local people who were chased out and off of their homeland, been there for hundreds of years, by the British, who then leased Diego Garcia to the United States government back in about 68 or 69. So it was from Diego Garcia they flew all their sorties over Afghanistan, and from which they fly all kind of sorties out of the Middle East, into the Middle East. So
it's a strategic
I mean, if they care so much about democracy, they destroyed the democracy of the independent government of the people that were there, just like they destroyed the democracy of the constitutional monarchy of Hawaii in 1893.
We are the people.
And the British government very recently, the highest court in England, ruled that the English government did not have the right to take the people from Diego Garcia and transfer their population elsewhere. And so, like, the U.S. government is using that location supposedly to defend democracy and freedom, but it's at the expense of the freedom and the democracy of the local islanders. So the U.S. government is not the greatest government on earth. They had to out-Jap the Japs, they had to out-Nazi the Nazis, they had to out-Commie the commies, and they're doing everything they can to out-terrorize the terrorists in today's world.
And then we have the 60s.
So these are not, these are based on the philosophy that might makes right. And it doesn't. It makes it the way it is, but that's not the way it ought to be. So if people think that the U.S. government is so great, they better think twice, because, like I say, they had to break more laws that in existence to get where they're at than most people have ever dreamed of, especially the Law of Nations, which is the grandfather of international law books.
So you don't sound that you feel patriotic. Is it?
I'm very patriotic.
You're very patriotic.
As a matter of fact, as I understand,
I mean, some people might think that.
That's because they don't know the truth. They just don't know the truth.
What would you say?
The truth is, if the people of America understood the fact that their government has been overthrown, then the right thing to do would be to reinstate the lawful American government.
Overthrown by whom?
By the leaders, the political leaders of the country over the last 100 years, who were responsible for making the choices that had caused the abrogation of Article 6 that resulted in the overthrow of many governments.
You mean the elected leaders, the Congress, the Senate?
Right. The presidents and members of Congress have conspired together to violate international law. If they really respected international law, which they're supposed to, because it's integrated into the U.S. Constitution under Article 1, Section 8, Number 10, includes the Law of Nations. So violations of the Law of Nations in international matters is an unconstitutional action. Take the overthrow of Guatemala in 1954. Or take the overthrow of Iran in 1953 when they stuck the Shah in power. All these are examples of international action that is against the law of nations, because the sovereignty of nations is supposed to be respected by all the nations as a pretty holy thing. but they don't seem to have any respect for it because they do to others what they would not want done to themselves.
Are you saying that everything should be resolved like in the United Nations instead of...
No. The problem, the United Nations is definitely not the body that has the capacity or the potential to make it the way it ought to be. There isn't actually a government on Earth yet good enough to resolve the problems of the people of the world today. What we need and what we don't have is a new form of government of the people, by the people, and for the people of the world and the nations of the world. Because, for example, if we had, see, the Queen of Hawaii was facing the same government 110 years ago that Saddam Hussein is facing today. Same government. Back 110 years ago, the same government wanted Pearl Harbor as a place because they needed to have a fueling station from which they could extend their sovereignty throughout the Pacific. And today, they want sovereignty over countries like Afghanistan and Iraq because they have great oil and gas reserves, and they need that to maintain their status quo. So,
took a flight out to the Isles, maybe for to stay a while. On a path down by the sea, stumbled into destiny. Swimmer with a flowing beard, talking just a side of weird. Spoke about Urantia Book, maybe ought to take a look. Paradise is in our hearts, soon our world may fall apart. Stop atomic accident, create a global government. For local problem, local government. For national problem, national government. For global problem, global government. Global mankind represent. A myth of national sovereignty clobbers our security. Only global sovereignty can never really set us free. Paradise is in our heart, soon our world may fall apart. Stop atomic accident, create a global government. After working all the day, the moment comes when I really want to play and have some fun. Need a little relaxation to chill us out. Need a little recreation, there can be no doubt. I just wanna get high, I wanna fly into the sky. I just wanna let go. I want you to know, love you so. I just wanna get high, I wonderful life.